the cursed Sonic Shadow toilet art with no known origin. For the last 10 years, this mysterious illustration has been endlessly reposted on Twitter and Reddit, a staple of the bad Sonic fan art genre. Few could resist the appeal of the anthropomorphic Sonic toilet. But the more you investigate this image, the weirder it gets. Endless dead links, a bizarre image board whose existence has been wiped from the surface web, and one of the longest, strangest, most unexplainable games of telephone on the internet. Who drew this? Where did they go? And why are they so determined never to be found? This is the never-ending rabbit hole of the Skibidi Sonic toilet. Today's art history mystery, fur affinity, fluids, and how to fall off the face of the earth. In case you've never seen it, this is a rather infamous piece of Sonic fan art, featuring Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog merged into a single, fleshy, toilet entity. Shadow can be seen voicing his disapproval of the situation, and just out of frame looms the fat gut of a character coming to use the bathroom. And remember the gut, because it is very important. So, for obvious reasons, this image persisted in people's memory. And right off the bat, there's a weird inconsistency. Because since this image's earliest known origin of Halloween of 2013, the version that's been posted and reposted ad nauseum is actually cropped. The left section of the image is often cut out entirely. And when you plug it into reverse image search, something weird happens. The earliest result goes nowhere. Fools.us is a defunct site with broken formatting. No matter, old forums die off and fail to archive all the time. But you start pulling the thread and you realize there are tons of dead links. And strangely enough, this image did not originate from DeviantArt, Fur Affinity, or even E621. And if you don't know what that is, we'll get there. But there's another lead. iChan.org. Several links come back to iChan, but once you start looking them up, it's another dead end. There is zero trace of iChan anywhere online other than this dead Twitter account and this little mushroom icon. But we can use context clues. Chan boards are infamously filled with adult content, and their insular nature makes them difficult to find. Based on the content of the image, we can make an educated guess about the kind of board it appeared on, and we can safely assume that it's legit fish art, which does narrow things down. But finally, a break in the case. A reverse image result from November 29th, 2013 leads to cheeseburger.com, which leads to something awful. 2014. The earliest available version of this image is from a thread by user Andrew Garbage Day Miller listing the strangest fan art around. The early 2010s were very much the beginning of the larger cringe movement that would come to define the latter half of the decade, at least online. And there was truly something about the Sonic franchise that produced the strangest art you'd ever seen. The snowball effect truly began on February 13th of 2014, with this BuzzFeed listicle about bad Sonic art. Merely weeks later, it was reposted to College Humor, a massive website at the time. This image quickly became the poster child for terrible Sonic content. Between 2014 and 2017, this spread like wildfire. Anywhere you saw bad Sonic art, you saw this. This drawing was relentlessly posted to Reddit, to Twitter, to Imager, but never with an artist attribution. And one thing you need to understand about weird fetishy art like this is that the artist is often easy to find. So back to something awful. Right under the post, it says that it was created for the thread by one FriendsAreEvil. So there we go. Mystery solved, right? This horrifying visage was created in 2013, it blew up in 2014, and sure enough, here was our guy. But something didn't feel quite right to me, so I reached out to FriendsAreEvil, and lo and behold, he says this. I didn't actually do that Sonic Shadow toilet drawing. I think Something Awful's formatting is a little confusing, so it might have read as mine. I did do this original drawing for the fan art thread ages ago. I definitely saw the Shadow Sonic toilet image circulating the thread around the time I was frequenting the thread in 2011 to 2012. So, nothing is adding up. The image has no clear origin. It was never posted on any of the usual suspects. And upon reflection, at the very top of the Something Awful thread is an attribution to an artist simply named Call Now. And Call Now is an absolutely untraceable entity. There is no social media or art website profile matching this name. It's basically unsearchable. Okay, pseudonym. Happens all the time, especially for very objectionable adult artwork. From here, things start getting really strange. The BuzzFeed article was one of the last prominent examples of the full version of the image being circulated, because after that point, it was almost exclusively this version instead. And it may not seem like a big deal, but removing the fat belly from this image removes a massive piece of fetish context. And we have to talk about the fetish. But before we get there, there's something really important you need to know. Out there on the internet is a website that Coomers could only dream of developing. A website with an exhaustive catalog of every fetish that has ever existed. A website I hoped I would never have to consult. The Blue Furry Site. So if you don't know, E621 is a staple of the furry adult art community. And while Sonic isn't strictly furry, the character designs are right on the cusp, and I had a good feeling that I was going to get a lead. So I made an account and plugged in the following search terms: Sonic, toilet, and transformation. And once you disable the pee-pee poo-poo filters, there it is, attributed to one Fizz the Ancient. So this time it had to be the artist, right? Because this website is meticulous about tagging and cataloging. But one look at the artist's gallery, censored for your peace of mind, and it's immediately obvious that this is not their work. In fact, it only has their name on it because of a mix-up with an old Tumblr post. So artist misattribution once, a mistake. Twice, whoever made this did not want to be found. Because even on the Blue Furry Site, this drawing got a tremendous amount of downvotes. And you might be thinking, surely the people who frequent the site have seen it all. What is so bad about this one in particular?
What the hell? Oh my God, no way.
So let's quickly address the Anthro Hedgehog in the room. Why is Sonic fan art so weird? I'm gonna be so real, I don't know. But I have a game theory. Sonic is a very child-oriented franchise that people tend to cling onto in their adulthood as a source of comfort. It also tends to be the cringier fanbase due to its origins in 90s ratitude and failure to adapt to modern sensibilities. And historically, it's produced a lot of edgy OCs. And there's also a famous mismatch between the seriousness with which it handles its subject matter versus the execution. Now, the furry community is similarly deeply misunderstood and often a refuge for online artists, incredibly welcoming to people with marginal interests as well as fringe fetishes and adult content. So the Venn diagram of people interested in Sonic, digital art, and furry culture converges in a huge way. And as a result, you get tons of fan art that leans into increasingly niche interests. And as you approach the extremes, you get some really, really, really freaky art. And speaking of freaky, let's define exactly what fetishes we're discussing here. On the surface, this may just look like hee-hee funny Sonic, but I promise you, this type of fan art hits a lot of fetish cross-sections. Furry, feet, diapers, poo-poo, and transformation. And while most of these are self-explanatory, there is one that requires a closer look. Transformation, agalmatophilia, or TF, is relatively common within the furry community, and that's not shocking given the transcendent nature of wanting to inhabit a non-human body. Its earliest furry web presence can be traced back to the 1997 site Transfer. And the closest to a formal definition I could find is from this incredible 2012 article by, I shit you not, professional British gaming researcher Dr. Mark Griffiths. He describes it as a form of sexual fetishism in which an individual derives sexual arousal from descriptions about and depictions of transformations, usually of people being transformed into other beings or objects. He continues, I also read that the transformations are typically non-consensual, with the transformer often becoming confused, scared, or angry as the changes take place. And knowing all of that, this image suddenly becomes much easier to explain. But we still haven't answered the question of who the hell made this. And by this point, I was losing hope. 2 artist dead ends. Every version of the image led back to some other version in an endless game of telephone. And frankly, I was freaking out because at the time that I found artist number 1, I was sure that I had solved a decade-long mystery, and I even tweeted about it. And now, I had nothing to back it up. And the story could end right there. Were it not for the fact that there was one more famous piece of Sonic toilet transformation art in the exact same style. And this one, I was determined to find. So back to square one. DeviantArt was a complete bust. A potential link to WizardChan's depression board turned up nothing. And checking the file names of individual images was useless because many of them were named 2ce.png. The file name from the image on the Know Your Meme page. We were going in circles. So with determination in my heart, I returned to the Blue Furry site and typed in the following: Sonic, toilet, transformation, pee-pee. And sure enough, there was one image strikingly similar to the Sonic toilet. Sonic Urinal Heroes. We were so back. And to make a serious comparison here, both images are arranged the same way. On the left, an anonymous character with a large gut, which is why I brought it up before, looms over the transformation victims on the right. Both are set in a bathroom. Both use a relatively muted color palette. The line weight, the thin white highlights, the subject matter, the composition, the looks of distress. Even the way Shadow and Knuckles' eyes are rendered is remarkably similar. And if that wasn't enough, this image was posted on May 31st of 2013, mere months before the first archive sighting of the Shadow toilet. So who is our culprit? While I cannot claim beyond the shadow of a doubt that this is our guy, this break in the case was illustrated by a furry fetish artist going by the name Canada. Their galleries on Fur Affinity and Ink Bunny contain dozens and dozens of images of the Sonic crew in adult situations, including toilet transformation. For obvious reasons, I cannot show most of these on screen, and while it's important to credit an artist with their work, please be aware that these images are incredibly graphic and probably not worth having in your search history. So if you do seek them out, please be warned. Can we definitively say this is the artist? No. But the pieces all fit, and together, it's a hell of a coincidence. Now, as for the present day, this image still gets reposted from time to time, notably the version without the gut, but it's far past its heyday. Sonic art continues to be as weird and marginal as ever, and those who seek images like this out are surely to find more. While it cannot be said with certainty that Canada is the originator of this long-running Sonic meme, they have certainly done their part to contribute to the culture. And as for whoever may truly be responsible, their sheer dedication to never being tracked down is really admirable. So has this internet art mystery been solved? I think it's as solved as it's ever gonna get. And if I wasn't unemployable before this video, my prospects now are circling the drain.
This guy stinks!
This has been an art history mystery.